The World Bank has earmarked $520 million for rural roads infrastructure across selected agrarian states in Nigeria. The World Bank Global Country Director for the Rural Access and Agriculture Marketing Project, Tunji Ahmed, explains that 23 states across the country applied for the loan scheme in 2008, and 10 states have been listed to benefit from it. He was speaking during a courtesy visit to the Kwara State Governor, Abdul Fattah Ahmed, at the Government House in Ilorin. The governor, on his part, says that the state government's decision to present the proposal for the project was to create a channel for moving farm produce to the market.
We know that farmers lost up to 25% of their products because of lack of access to the market. This project is expected to be taken to the World Bank board by May 2018. And as soon as the World Bank board approves the project, then there will be a financial agreement between the World Bank and the federal government of Nigeria, and there will be a subsidiary agreement between federal government and the state. And this is when the project implementation will start.
We've taken agriculture as the next level to drive revenue generation, to drive growth, economic growth, but most importantly, to engage our teeming unemployed youths. So your coming in is quite auspicious. It's a very welcome development. To us, it can come at a better time to complement our program, which we hope, inshallah, will change the economic mainstay of the state from a public service-driven environment to an agro-economic-driven environment.
Women and men took to the streets of Lagos today in a solidarity march against domestic violence. The walk, which took place in the Ikeja area of the state, was sponsored by Nature's Gentle Touch, a leading hair and scalp solutions brand.
The start-off point for this walk is Ikeja bus stop. Staff of Nature's Gentle Touch are supported by the crew of Omoye, a movie about a woman suffering domestic violence. They march in the streets to the accompaniment of music. Global estimates by the World Health Organization in 2016 show that about 1 in 3 women have experienced physical or sexual violence. Some risk factors associated with the act include attitudes that accept violence and gender inequality. Participants in this walk are out to change this mindset. The walk takes them to the seat of government at Alausa, where members of the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team in the Ministry of Justice joined forces with the cause.
It's even intertwined. Sometimes from mother-in-law to the daughter-in-law, from father-in-law to the son-in-law, you know, from wife to husband, from parents to kids. There is abuse everywhere. We decided to make this work today because today as well, Omoye, the movie itself, is hitting the cinemas nationwide.
In the past, what I found was women coming out. Honestly, now I have men coming out. And that really gladdens my heart because a lot of men are coming out and saying, you know what, I know I am very close to committing this offense. Help me.
Staff of Nature's Gentle Touch want to care for both the physical and emotional state of women who are the usual victims of domestic violence.
We are going to support initiatives like this to make sure that the well-being of women is protected at all times.
The emphasis of these advocates is that victims and witnesses should speak out, and one of the ways is to dial the dedicated number *6820# for quick response and counseling.
Let's take a look at some business news now. Here's Ebana Amawe. Hello and welcome to Business News. The Central Bank of Nigeria has continued its intervention in the forex market with the injection of over $285.75 million in the interbank foreign exchange market to meet requests in 4 sectors of the economy. Details show that the agricultural, airlines, petroleum and raw materials were the 4 sectors that received various sums of forex allocation from the financial regulator based on requests put forward by their respective banks. The central bank has over time injected over $10 billion into the forex market to ensure liquidity and ease pressure on the naira. In the meantime, currency traders say the naira has maintained its stability in the market. Leading business management firm Phillips Consulting is one of the renowned establishments that has contributed to the growth of the Nigerian economy through innovations in the private sector. In commemoration of its 25th anniversary, the executive management of the company had the honor of closing the equity markets at the Nigerian Stock Exchange today. In a chat with Channels Television, chairman of the company, Mr. Folusho Phillips, gives a hint on the future plans of the firm.
We've just spent the last 25 years helping to build Nigerian institutions. We're very proud of that. I think we're very good at it. We've been very, very practical about it. We've been very, very hands-on. Less theory and more digging in and rolling up our sleeves and understanding a lot better than even the foreign firms that come in about the innuendos and the little things about our environment that's allowed us to be very good at what we do. Plus, we've churned out a lot of consultants. I mean, 25 years, we've had a lot of people come through our doors. And we also have participated in feeding the system with very competent consultants who are great guys today. We know of a lot of managers and senior managers and junior people in the organizations when we started off with, they're now CEOs. Okay, so there's a whole new cycle. And for someone like me personally, it's like, okay, it's time to begin to, well, I've been stepping back for the last 24 months, 18 months. But now come 1st of November, early November, we're actually appointing, we'll be announcing a new managing director for Phillips Consulting as we begin the next thing about institution building, which is succession.
The company secretary and chief compliance officer of Oando, Nigeria, Mrs. Ayotola Jagun, says that the planned independent forensic audit by the Securities and Exchange Commission into the affairs of the energy trader would be a waste of both investors' funds and the executive time.
The truth of the matter is we have supplied all that information to the SEC during the course of their information. So, of the investigation. Every time they would come to us with questions, we would cooperate and we would send them all the documents that they needed. Based on the information we've sent to them, they have reached certain findings. If they want to prove the veracity or otherwise of those findings, we believe that a very expensive forensic investigation is not the best way to go about that. The SEC has the right to have an inspector come into the company and actually look look at the books of the company. They have chosen not to go down that line. We believe that a forensic investigation, of which we don't actually quite understand what the scope is, how long it would take, we know what the cost is not the best use of shareholder funds at this time. And, it's not also the best use of executive time. We have a business to run. This is a 48-year-old company. And, we have to continue this legacy for generations to come.
Despite some gains recorded in the banking and insurance sector, profit-taking in 3 other major sectors pulled the markets further into negative territory at the close of trading for the week. Chimeze has details.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Despite the good news today that Nigerian stock indices remain in the MSCI Frontier Market Index, the equities market continues to tread water. The all-share index dropped by 0.15%, but still within the 36,000 mark. Investors' negative sentiment was mostly felt in the oil and gas sector, no thanks to the uncertainties surrounding Oando's investigations by SEC and the loss by Forte Oil. The 3 Naira interim dividend offered by Total was not enough to change investors' perception of the oil and gas sector for now. It was a split performance on the price movement chart as 23 stocks recorded gains and another 23 recorded losses. Caverton moved the most, up by 5%, while Total led the decliners. Transaction value and volume dropped from yesterday's. Investors put in about 3 billion naira for over 250 million shares in 3,968 deals. There are 2 more trading sessions to say goodbye to the month of October. Traders are only hopeful the coming week will be better. That was the Stock Market Report. I'm Chimezie Obi Iwago.
It's broadly a positive close for major global stock markets this week as investors digest strong third-quarter earnings for 3 of the world's biggest tech companies in the U.S. That's it on Business News Tonight. I'm Emana Amawe. It's back to you, Joma. Thanks, Emana. Airport, rail and deep water seaports are capital-intensive projects ongoing in Bayelsa State, but the state government says it cannot handle them alone and has asked the federal government for help. And that help seems to be on the way, as the Minister of Transport, Chibuike Amechi, says the federal government will facilitate licenses and other documentation needed for the projects.
We're also working on a deep seaport project at Agay. We believe from the reports already available that that is a very viable project. Agay is at the southernmost tip of this country. Agay is just, as it were, very close to most of the neighboring Gulf of Guinea countries. On the basis of the reports we have seen, we believe that a good investment case can be made for that deep sea port. We are currently building a 3.5-kilometer runway airport in Bayelsa, and I'm here to solicit your cooperation.
These are your 3 demands, and I have assured you that the 3 of them will be looked into. I can assure you that we'll fast track the approvals for the seaport for you to go and look for an investor. We did it for the Cross River State Governor. There's no party, there's no name in development. There's no APC or PDP in development. We don't benefit anything as a party if we stop development in Bayelsa or Cross River just because you're in PDP.